July 26th meeting of the Troy Planning Commission. Will clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. McGarry? Mr. Westmeyer?
Here.
Mayor Oda?
Here.
Mr. Titterington?
Here.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Here.
Mr. Wolke?
Here.
Mr. Emery?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. You have received the minutes of the July 12th meeting of the Planning Commission. Are there any additions or corrections?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, next item of business is request for approval of solar panels at 1551 Creekwood Drive. This is to have a report.
Yes, sir. So this is a request by Solar Power and Light for the Planning Commission to review the installation of solar panels facing the public right-of-way at 1551 Creekwood Drive. It's important to know that these were installed without a zoning permit. The home is located on a corner lot in Creekwood Drive in Duke Court. The proposed solar panels would be located in 3 separate roof lines on the structure, and then one of those sets of solar panels do face Creekwood Drive, and that is the reason why it's before you today. So at the June 28th Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission recommended a text amendment to the zoning code for a significant amount of changes to our solar panel requirements. When using those recommended changes as guidelines, the proposed solar panels do not meet a number of those items that have been outlined in the report. While the city supports the use of solar panels, the panels installed on the south-facing roof along Creekwood are not rectangular, and wiring is visible from the right-of-way. Should the applicant consider the removal or relocation of the panels, staff would be supportive. And then staff does recommend denial for the installation of the solar panels based on the following: that they do not meet the guidelines that was established on our June 28th meeting. And that'll conclude my report.
Okay, the commission made a recommendation to council on the 28th of June, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did council act on that?
They have not acted on that yet.
Mr. Chair, that's a zoning code change, so we're beginning that process of getting the readings and then having the public hearing, so that's why it takes time.
Okay, well, I guess my question would be then, are our recommendations in effect?
No, they're not in effect. That's why you're using the word guidelines.
Guidelines, yes. It's not a law at this point, it's guidelines.
Okay.
But even if it were, you're saying they don't meet that.
Yes, ma'am.
So if it were in effect, they would not meet them?
Yes, sir.
How long has the permit been required for this kind of work?
Since at least 2008, when we adopted the latest version of the code.
You had indicated that the staff would be okay with a removal of a couple of panels. What would that do to impact what they got?
So if they submitted a removal of essentially the side that faces Creekwood Drive, staff would be supportive of that, with the condition that the wiring was essentially penetrated the roof line instead of being visible. The conduit's visible as well right now, and those are the main items that do not meet those guidelines from our 28th meeting.
Mr. Chair, could you indicate for me on the picture which panels you're talking about are in violation?
Yeah, so if you look on the pictures, it's the third one, so the bottom left-hand corner.
The one that looks like a...
Yes.
The others meet the guidelines?
Correct.
I guess aesthetically, as you go down Creekwood, the one that's actually at 90 degrees to the street is more obvious than the ones that are facing the street.
Yes, that's correct.
But those would be in compliance.
Those would be in compliance. So really the main issues under the guidelines is items. So under item E in the staff report, They have to have a rectangular configuration, so facing Creekwood Drive, they almost look like a pyramid style. Under F, the wiring is visible from the street. And then under G, roof penetration shall be used to conceal the electrical wiring.
Does the commission have any more questions from the staff?
Just so I understand the timeline, so we had, previous to the June 28th, we did not have proposed guidelines for this installation of solar panels?
No, there were just general, what was in the code, which was pretty vague.
Okay.
It is pretty vague.
And then there was a permit requirement always required prior to June. There was no permit for this current work that was done, right?
Correct.
And then we have a proposed guidelines going into effect that council hasn't adopted yet.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
This, my understanding is this came to us as a complaint from the neighbors.
Yeah, we received a verbal complaint, a phone call into our office, and we investigated that and then contacted the owner, started the enforcement process.
Was there any discussion with the owner or the installer regarding this recommendation today?
Yeah, so there was conversations with the owner as well as the solar panel company about our concerns, and they wish to proceed forward, and they are available in the audience if we have questions for them as well.
All right, so they're not willing to do anything different?
To my knowledge, they're in the audience, but to my knowledge, they were wishing to proceed forward as submitted, and then they would reconvene after that.
I have a question. Is the property owner here, or why was there no permit? Oh, come to the podium.
It's not going to be recorded.
You're all the property owners?
So this is my solar company,
company. Okay.
and
So,
then as far as the permit goes, I'll let them explain that.
okay, we need names and addresses.
Oh, Ben Schmidt, 1551 Creekwood Drive.
Okay,
Tricia Smith, 1551 Creekwood Drive.
thank you.
Brent Boyd, Solar Power and Light, 2411 Cross Point Drive, Miamisburg, Ohio.
So, in installing these in other communities, do you have a permit process that you have to go through?
We do, and typically, well, always, we file the necessary permits, building permit, electric permit, and zoning permit. It's been our experience that our building and electric permit are never approved unless a flag is triggered in their system to say that zoning is required. We were told that zoning wasn't required, which is why we didn't file a zoning application initially.
Yeah, who told you that?
I'm the one that does the calls. So I call the county, the city, the township, whatever it may be, village, and then I make sure the zoning is required specifically for solar panels. So when I called the City of Troy office, I was told that for roof-mounted solar panels, we did not need zoning.
I don't know.
So-
None of our staff would have said that.
That's
Pardon?
Maybe it was the county, because the county does our building codes, but I can't believe the city, our staff wouldn't have said.
Have you done other roofs in Troy?
Never in Troy proper. We've done in and around townships, but not in the city of Troy. You know, we've been doing this for over a decade, so this generally never happens. Now, I can say, just being honestly, and I told our analysts that we should have not taken anyone's word, we should have gone to the city ourselves and checked the zoning codes to see what it said rather than taking someone's word. So we do have a modification to our process to always do that. And if we had done that, we would have caught this, but we just took the word of whomever we spoke with. We don't even have a name, I don't believe, of who we spoke with. But, you know, we're a reputable company, we've been around for a long time, we've done this for a long time, and so we know that zoning sometimes is required, so it was just an unfortunate thing that happened. There was a statement that we're unwilling to change. That's not true. We've already actually changed our drawings. We have a new set of drawings here that we think would be in compliance with the new guidelines to rectify the situation, including
Did we not know that?
changing the routing of conduits to reroute so they're not visible where you'd not like to see them. And the stair step pyramid, we've squared that off, we've gotten rid of that to make it square in compliance with your guidelines. So we are very willing to meet your code.
Can you pass those out, sir?
Sure.
We only brought one copy. The reason that pyramid, ones are there, those are our most efficient ones. So as far as the south facing, that is the most efficient area to capture sunlight or solar panels.
Yeah.
So you can see there where the stair steps are there. If I could ask staff, do they give you sufficient information for us to proceed on this, or should we table this?
If we can pause for a second, our staff can, Taylor,
What's that?
we can just go across the hall and do it, it's probably quicker.
Okay.
You make some copies.
You can make copies, yeah. Well, we go along with the guidelines,
So if they square off the section that's in question and then hide the wiring or whatever we're saying is showing, then
okay.
are we in compliance?
It's more into compliance. It doesn't fully comply with all of the criteria.
But those are just guidelines, correct?
Correct. At this point, they're just guidelines. For example, the 25% under item J, I don't have the percentages, just quickly looking at it.
Yeah.
So that would be the
Yes,
only.
but Austin, your recommendation is based on not meeting E, F, and H.
Yes, sir.
Not J, but E, F, and H.
I'm saying based on their new submittal, I cannot confirm that it meets item J based on what I just saw quickly.
But it would not have met item J under the current configuration.
Correct.
And you did not mention that as one of the reasons for not recommending that under the original configuration.
Gotcha. Understood.
It would be a reduction by one panel under the new configuration as well, which affects us in capture-wise at the end too.
I thought staff had recommended 2 panels.
I don't have it in front of me.
I'm sorry, what was the statement?
Well, didn't staff recommend 2 panels be removed?
So,
One is the objectionable one, just
It's just the one at the
the
point.
pyramid one, lower
It's not quite
left-hand
a
photo.
rectangle. It doesn't make a rectangle, but it takes away that point.
Lower left-hand photo.
Let's see what the,
We've reconfigured that section, it looks like a pyramid so that it is square.
Just looking at this, the staff report, it talks about removing 2 sections of the solar panel.
yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Well, this doesn't. This makes
That
it
totally
different.
changes the array.
Right.
But it makes it a rectangle.
Yep.
And then, just for reference, I don't know if it matters, but we were made aware of the complaint. We have a really good relationship with all of our neighbors. So we actually did write our own letter and went to all of our neighbors' houses to see if they had any issues with it. And these are actually our next door neighbors who the panels actually face.
The only ones that can see it in our neighborhood are brothers.
Yeah. And the person that complained, actually where they're at on our house, they cannot see from their property at all. So.
I guess at this point, we're waiting for staff to have a chance to review.
It's just consider removal. They would be sorted.
So the addressing.
I think you guys can go ahead and have a seat if you want to. You don't need to see me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It doesn't? Yes, I agree. And it says in their report, they said it was being supported. If they did that, which they are doing or will do. I just don't know how you make the motion.
We can,
Yeah.
Looks good to me.
I'll make it, I don't care.
this
see?
this
Yeah.
here is there.
You can see more of that than you can.
I know, but it, I know it's supposed to, but this comes.
Yes, I know, but they're willing to fix that.
Yeah, right, so that's fine.
Or maybe they already have spot. I didn't look for it.
We okay now?
Yeah, I'm gonna amend my recommendation to recommend approval based on the revised submittal, just passed out to us.
Okay, let me ask this first. Have you had sufficient time to properly review this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you are saying based on that change that you now support what they want to do?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve it based on the revised submittal.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Titterington,
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Emery,
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer.
Yes.
Approved.
Can I make one comment to the installer? Just make sure you get a permit within the city limits.
Yes, we have, we did submit that, I think on the 7th of July.
All right, thank you.
Is there anything else to come before the commission? If not,
We have no other items.
okay. If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.